Hey, so a while back I decided to dabble into my first otome game, Love in Deep Space. I've seen things and apps that are until this very day imprinted in the back of my eyeballs. It was, though, a very good experience in terms of insight. As a straight guy, my romance experience comes from bishoujo games, getting rejected by that cunt Haley on the first flower dance, and being emotionally manipulated by my first two girlfriends. Actually, I'm fairly certain that those last two sentences explain each other. That being said, there are very few things in this world that make me genuinely happy. The thrill of gambling, Arby's 2 for $6 everyday value, but above all of them, the thing that makes me the happiest, pissing people off. That's right. Among the numerous people requesting me to either play Love in Deep Space again or play other otome games, exactly one person, Jungkook K6360, requested that I never even consider playing an otome game ever again. Want to know what the funny part is? It's the fact that had this person not left this comment on the video, I probably wouldn't have played an otome game again. But here's the thing, I am nothing if not spiteful. I thought about playing Deep in Love Space again while cosplaying Raphael, since much like him, I'm also a loser. That was a joke. No point in getting mad for him because he doesn't exist, and neither do I. I'm not kidding when I said I actually had that idea though, but I just could not for the life of me find a ready-made costume that would ship to where I live. So instead, I decided to download 10 of the best mobile otome games on the market, according to this random-ass list I found online, and see for myself just what women want. That being said, this video is the first of a maybe 10, maybe 9 part series, simply because I don't really want to condense everything into a 2-hour-long video. Now, the thing is, I'm a novice when it comes to otome games. I like manly games like Animal Crossing and Harvest Moon, but don't get me wrong, regardless of how it's presented, I am a huge fan of romance, even though many of my friends say I'm not emotional at all. That's kind of a weird thing to say to someone who cried once during the final episode of Odon Host Club, once during Kaizo wa Meido-sama, 3 times during Fruits Basket, and twice during Kimi ni Todoke, even though Kazehaya is a fucking retard. You might be asking yourself though, why mobile games? Well, I'm not paying for those fancy schmancy, actually complex otome games for the Switch that have a well-built story with multiple endings and paths, and that people have poured their heart and soul into making. This is solely built for the purpose of sucking money out of your horniness for 2D men, much like Azure Lane is built to suck my money out of me by making me buy the maid skin for Ager. Now, it goes without saying, this video and every single one after it will have me making jokes about these games. That, however, doesn't mean that I did not like them or that I'm just shitting on them. If you're offended by me making jokes about any of these games, feel free to leave a mean comment, use your favorite finger to smash that dislike button, or repeatedly bang your head against a cement wall. This video by itself will be long enough already, so without further ado, let's have a look at our lineup. Okay fellas, looking good. Now, keep in mind, at the time of playing, I had purposely forgotten to read the descriptions for any of these games. So, much like my caramel-collared hamster that sneaked out of her cage in the middle of the night and fell into the pool in the front yard and died when I was 7, I went into it blind. Rest in peace, Rebecca. For this video, we have Mystic Messenger. Now, according to Google Play Store's description, female-oriented dating messenger game. Call, text, chat systems are provided. That is a very descriptive description. Anyway, this should be a very good learning experience for me because I'm not really the type to typically flirt through texting. I much prefer smoke signals or Microsoft Teams. That's probably the reason why whenever I hear a notification popping up on my phone, I hop over to it like an excited newborn baby deer, thinking that it was a message from someone I actually want to talk to, when in reality, it is usually my carrier sending me ads or my loan shark threatening to break my kneecaps. As the game started, I immediately got greeted by these joyful looking fellows who had faces like they just saw me walk into the room with my cock hanging out from my shorts. When playing Love in Shallow Space, I forgot to update the game before starting the stream and had to sit there waiting for a 1 GB update to finish before playing. In order to not let the tradition die, I did the same with this game. God damn it, I fucking knew this was gonna happen. I know I sounded heartbroken when I realized it, but that's just because I like bitching. The whole update took about 30 seconds, but I swear to God, it felt like it was at least 40 seconds. The game asked me for my in-game name, but I thought it was asking me about the current condition of my lower body parts, so I went with moist and raw. What this game lacks in gigabytes, it makes up for in complete realism, because it even goes as far as telling you to pick a profile picture, so you can fully immerse yourself in the messaging app. It gives you the options of choosing between a white girl, another white girl, a slightly tan white girl, I think I went to school with this guy, and a unicorn for whatever fucking reason. Having picked my most favorite mugshot, the story could finally begin. Except it didn't. Other Otome games will take you directly into the story so you can get acclimated to the characters, the setting, and the plot. Not this one. It just drops you into the game with a shitload of menus and doesn't tell you anything. It's very unusual for games nowadays to do this. In fact, it is said that in modern gaming, the only games to drop you into the action without giving you a tutorial are Dark Souls and Mystic Messenger. After perusing the menus for a bit, I started out with a casual story. I thought that the name casual story would imply the existence of a competitive, ranked story. Perhaps a game mode where you compete against other players to see who comes faster, but sadly there wasn't. I waited for about a minute on this loading screen, which is weird because that's more than what I waited for that 800 megabyte update, and then right after, I enjoyed some more waiting, as the game downloaded more data that it probably forgot to download the first time around. As the story finally began, some unknown idiot was texting me. Protocol dictates that the thing that comes next is either a dick pic or an attempt to sell insurance. This time around though, it was neither. This person found a cell phone on a subway station, and instead of turning it over to the police or the station staff, they decided instead it would be prudent to somehow unlock that person's phone and start texting people on some random messaging app. Not only that, this idiot took the phone with them abroad. At least that's what I think happened. I'm not sure because, to be honest, I wasn't paying attention. I immediately ignored that ethical conundrum nonsense and gave it to him straight. Where are the fuckboys? I got ignored, as I should, and they kept asking for help in order to find the phone's owner. I then pointed out the obvious: just leave it at a police station or leave it with the station staff. To which they replied, normal people won't be able to understand. That is the kind of thing 15-year-old goth girls who pretend they slit their wrists open up with when starting their rant about how their boyfriend raw dogged the cheerleader from the class next door. They started pointing out that their religion states that they shouldn't miss an opportunity to do something good. That's a weird thing to say considering that you could have left the phone with the station staff and let the owner go back and get it themselves, but instead you chose to take the phone with you abroad. I called them creepy, and as a creep would do, they replied with creepy and a smiling emoji. This is the equivalent of writing, I'm not creepy, I just happen to have access to the gym's computer, so I got your phone number from their client records because I thought you were cute. And then like asterisk teleports behind you and kisses your neck asterisk. To make matters worse, they followed up by saying that there is a saying that states you get a treat if you listen to older men. This sounds like something that pedophiles would spread around to facilitate the process of offering children a Reese's Puffs in exchange for them agreeing to enter their van. His next move was begging. I can't say I fault him for it, because if a girl is losing interest in you, sometimes you just have to submit and hope that she's into being a dom. If you're a guy watching this, please try that strategy out and let me know how it goes. He sent me a photo of a guy who looked like he cheated on his biology 1 test and still managed to fail, saying that it was him. I'm not usually one to take things at face value, but considering that this guy messaged me from an unknown number saying that he found a phone and chose to keep the phone with himself, then went abroad while holding said phone until he could directly return it to the owner's hands because his religion forbids him from doing otherwise, fuck it, who cares, he seems trustworthy. Surely you're thinking by this point that this can't get any more suspicious. Well, you must be stupid then, because this metaphorical hot boy sent me a link to an address and asked me to go there. Well, seems like someone thinks I was born yesterday. I don't even click on links that my mom sends me, let alone some random fuckboy wearing a turtleneck and flannel shirt. Turns out that free will is a lie because my only option was to go to the address. After getting there, I was greeted by a digital lock, which I suspect was installed by God in an attempt to protect me from harm. The dipshit obviously just had to send me the password, and I opened the door. He then said, "Good, why don't you go inside?" But he really must have typed it like, "Good, why don't you go inside without looking in the closet or bringing a small knife with you?" I went in, and for whatever reason I got dropped into a different group chat. The group chat seemed pretty hectic and lively. These gorgeous young men seemed unfazed by the fact that someone with the username Moist and Raw entered their chat room out of nowhere, but to be honest, given the Discord servers I'm in, I wouldn't be surprised either. Nepotism, animated stickers, general douchebaggery. This chat had everything. But like every group chat filled with bros, 98% of the conversation was just them bullshitting around. That's why instead of commenting on all the shtick they did, I'll just skip ahead to the important parts. That's because I think it's important for you to understand the story so you can explain to me down in the comment section, because I didn't understand shit. They finally became aware of my existence thanks someone entered the chat thinking that I was a hacker that dropped into their group chat. Trust me, if I was a hacker, I wouldn't hack into some group chat for boys who may or may not be gay to live out their fantasies. I'd do something more productive, like hacking into Taylor Swift's Twitter account and tweeting out, "I hate all of my white fans." The redheaded guy, in order to find out who I am, traced my IP because he's a hacker. You can tell he's a hacker because he wears glasses and has headphones in his profile picture. Turns out that I was at the apartment of someone named Rika. Rika who? Rika nobody. It doesn't matter because she's dead. Spoiler, oops. They pressured me into confessing that I broke into their dead friend's apartment and hacked into their group chat and also telling them my name. One of the guys, Zen, what a stupid name. What is Zen short for? Zenjamin? Anyway, he brought up the point that I might be a girl. Knowing these group chats, only two outcomes are possible here. They'll either change up their entire personalities in order to mold the essence of their very being so they can appeal to me in hopes of me letting them raw dog me, or I'm about to get hit with the absolute most psychologically damaging barrage of sexist texts. No in between. I told them that I am moist and raw and that my name was also moist and raw. I'm moist and raw. Facts. Zenyatta introduced himself as being a 24-year-old musical actor, whatever the fuck that means, and proceeded to send me an unsolicited pic of himself. If I was a 13-year-old girl right now, I'd be crushing hard on this dollar store Gojo Satoru. But I'm not. I'm a 25-year-old man. My only crush is on Katsuragi Misato, that groomer from Evangelion. Hacker Boy introduced himself as 707, with that being his nickname, because apparently his real name is a secret. Ooh, not that I give a shit or fuck. It's probably something stupid like Devin or Aaron with only one A. Next, it was the Twink's turn to introduce himself and send me an unsolicited photo. I then told them about how some unknown dude contacted me and somehow convinced me to go to their dead friend's apartment without any sort of way of protecting myself. Seven doxed me and said that I'm cute, to which I promptly responded that I'm not a girl. That in turn made him break the fourth wall. Fuck this guy. They called up their boss, who also turned out to be Rika's ex-boyfriend. He thought it was weird that I was in his dead girlfriend's apartment, considering the fact that even he didn't know the password to the door and had never even been there. What a cuck. The conclusion to which they came is that Rika must have somehow set this up before she died because she, quote, wanted someone to do the work she did before. This might just be the most fucked up job offer I have ever received. Thanks. I think I'll pass on the job, thanks. I finally asked who Rika is, and because nothing can ever be easy, instead of just answering the damn question, they proceeded to conjecture that I might not be trustworthy, despite the fact that unlike her cuck boyfriend, I am literally inside her apartment right now, so if they refuse to tell me, I could just look around her stuff and deduce who she was, but okay. Eventually, they told me that she created this chat room, and that she used to host parties for a good cause. That's it. She created an organization called RFA, hosted 2 parties in 4 years, and then died. I won't lie to you, I was extremely confused. I sure as shit don't understand why the twink said that he can't imagine anyone else taking over what she did. Obviously, I'm not Rika, but I can organize a party, despite my friends saying that playing Super Smash Bros. And doing shots of Smirnoff every time you die or get hit with an ultimate does not constitute a party. I got coerced into my new job as head of the party planning committee. Fortunately, it seemed like the job was mostly just checking emails. I can finally experience what being my boss is like. The one other chick in the group chat summarized everything for me, and I learned that the RFA did not stand for Rare Flambéed Asparagus like I originally thought it did. Actually, they didn't explain the acronym, so maybe it does. Regardless, the RFA is basically a non-governmental organization. That being said, I don't understand all of the secrecy surrounding this group chat. Maybe it's because I wasn't paying attention. Maybe it's because I really only played about 2.5 hours of this game, but I just do not understand why I had to get doxxed over a group chat for setting up fundraisers. Xenifer complimented me on my dashing looks, to which Seven replied by asking how did he know that I was pretty whenever he hadn't sent the pictures of me he got by doxing. I guess this retard must have forgotten that we quite literally have profile pictures. I was finally extended a formal invitation to join the really fucktarded alliance, the renowned RFA. Obviously I declined, because fuck that. I can't be a party planner whenever I'm so socially anxious that I once rejected the elevator that I myself had called because when it finally arrived after 7 minutes of waiting, the doors opened up to a group of 6 to 7 teenage girls, to which I reacted by just walking away and climbing up 16 floors worth of stairs. More bullshitting, they resorted to begging again, and as if being doxxed wasn't enough, this time I got threatened with a lawsuit for trespassing in their former living friend's apartment. They really seem like the co-workers I've dreamed of. Seven supported Jae-hee Kang's next claim by mentioning that I wouldn't be able to use this chat as evidence because they have the ability to just delete everything. I would say that for a hacker, he's quite the dumbass for not considering the possibility that I had been screenshotting or recording the screen all along, but luckily for him, I'm playing as an idiot that didn't even consider those possibilities. What the fuck? Smiley face. The twink actually defended me a bit by asking if they weren't forcing me too much, to which the cunt with glasses replied by saying that they did give me a choice. I could choose to work a new job as a party planner and forego all of my previous life and everything that I know, or I could get sued. This sounds a lot like my mom giving me the choice to get hit with a wooden spoon on the bony part of my hand or with a belt on my ribcage when I was 6. And as if that wasn't enough, this dipshit posted a picture of his Lambo on Facebook and asked the little twink boy if he liked the picture. And after being answered yes, he proceeded to say, "Good job, lol." Listen, this game came out in 2016, 8 years ago. If you're a girl and you ever chose to take this guy's route when playing this game, please tell me about your romantic experiences in the past 8 years. I could use a good laugh. I got officially welcomed into the group, probably for the 3rd time by this point, and immediately as soon as we said our goodbyes, nearly every single one of them ran up on my DMs. Again, I'd say that this is actually pretty realistic. You see what the problem is with that screen right there? Jumin Han was too much of a beta male to actually send me a message, and he was the only guy that I actually had any interest in, mostly because he's not an asshole and has a cat. I think all the ladies watching will agree with me when I say that that is reason enough to go after him. I must have been playing as an obsessive yandere stalker though, because I had saved pictures of all of them in my gallery, even of this dumbass, who leaves his coffee cup unnecessarily close to the edge of the table and also leaves his eyes unnecessarily close to the edge of his skull. Desolated, heartbroken, moist, and raw, I replied to Zen. If I can't have Jumin Han, I might as well go for him. After all, 1 in the hand is worth 2 in the pussy. The voices inside my character's head debated on whether we should try a friendly approach by saying, "Let's talk often," with a smiley face, or the obsessed and potentially a scammer approach by saying, "Let's talk about some personal stuff." The voices in my head agreed that the second option was clearly the most effective. My character's bipolar disorder did the same with the femboy. I'm starting to think that the only options for dialogues in this game are things like, "Hi, yes, let us be friends and get to know each other better," or "Give me your credit card number, bitch." Zen replied with 5 lol stringed together and saying, "I like how bold you are." That made me so fucking dry. So much so that I resorted to talking to the other chick in the group chat. I started off by breaking the 4th wall, which, as every girl can confirm, is the best strategy to chatting up a woman. Fellas, make sure to try that out next time you talk with a woman. That was obviously a joke, by the way. If you're watching this video, you don't have the capacity to talk to women. Neither do I, that's why I'm here. The pixels on the screen seemed really offended that I referred to this game as a game, and thus I apologized and said that I was sorry for hurting her fictional feelings, to which she replied by saying that I didn't have to care about her feelings. Good, I don't. She explained to me that my work is comprised of reading RSVP emails for the party and answering questions. If that's all there is to it, then there will probably be a bunch of questions, given that apparently there's no one to actually plan the party. She said goodbye and went to sleep, hopefully forever, so I decided to go back to talking to Zen. This motherfucker was trying so damn hard. He sure as hell didn't like the fact that my heart never went above or below what the resting heart rate is after looking at his picture. I won't lie, he actually managed to get a laugh out of me. Social convention dictates that because of that, it's now time for me to drop my pants for him. I didn't though, so obviously the only possible explanation was that I'm a guy. I hate that he's right. He suddenly started emotion dumping on me by shit-talking his friends. I like this guy now, which is why I told him he could go out with me now, which he just sort of brushed off to the side, probably because I was being a cunt to him. Oh well, c'est la vie. This video was supposed to be longer than this, and I would tell you the reason why, but I don't think you deserve to know. You haven't earned it yet. All I'll say right now is that I was under the impression that I could progress a lot further into this game in one go than I actually could. You see, you can't just message or call these fellers at any point in time. Remember, these virtual non-existing men need their sleep. Otherwise, how would they go to their virtual non-existing jobs? How would they carry out their fictional lives? How would the company that made this game make any money? Not only that, they actually message you and call at specific times, and if you're not awake to take that call, well, say goodbye to your hourglasses, fool, because you gotta pay to call them back. That was extremely disheartening, especially considering the fact that I didn't play the game for 2 weeks and came back to 25 unanswered texts and 10 missed calls. I did spend some of my hard-earned hourglasses that the game gave to me for free and without any effort in return to call Jamie Han, and much to my surprise, he picked up just to tell me to go fuck myself and die, and to never call him again unless my life was in immediate danger.
휴대폰에 그 정도는 떠. 하지만 스스로를 분명히 밝히는 건 마음에 드는군. 그런데 무슨 용무라도 있나? 그게 궁금해서 전화한 건가? 앞으로는 이런 불상사가 없도록 미리 말해두는 게 좋겠군. 다른 멤버들이 전화를 어떻게 받는지 모르겠는데 난 그렇게 한가한 사람이 아니야. 지금 이 순간에도 나와
A weird reaction considering that I was returning one of his calls, and no, I don't think it had anything to do with the fact that I had called him at 2:34 in the morning. We bullshitted about wallpapers. Actually, it was mostly him monologuing at me about it. I really only said about 7 words this entire call. After the call was over, I decided to return another one of his calls, but the game crashed and 5 of my precious hourglasses were gone forever, drained into the unending void. I tried calling Zen back so I could talk about how his friend that he doesn't like wouldn't pay me attention, but the bastard was already asleep. What kind of degenerate is asleep at 2:34 in the morning? Desolated, I moved on to a different ordeal entirely. Feral hearts. But that's a story for another video. All in all, I feel like this was actually a pretty good game. I wasn't really feeling the entire you gotta pay to listen to the calls and get some of the text that you missed, but I guess they gotta make their money somehow. The entire concept of this being a game but it's really not, it's a messaging app where you talk with these characters, is actually a pretty interesting concept, so I can actually see why people would like this game. And as far as the actual messages go, some of the chats are pretty funny. That is not to say, however, that I liked every single one of the characters, because I didn't. 7 can die for all I care, and so can the Twink, and I would say Zen can go fuck himself, but I actually ended up liking him a little bit more towards the end. And to be honest, that entire setup in order to get the character into the group chat felt extremely forced. Like that whole, oh, I can't just leave the phone with the station staff because my religion doesn't allow it. You gotta go to that empty apartment by yourself without any sort of self-defense weapons and break into it. I'll give you the password. Don't worry about it. That whole thing felt pretty forced, but again, I really don't feel like that's a deal breaker of any sort. Maybe the story picks up a lot more if I had just played a little bit more, but yeah. Anyway, that's gonna do it for this video. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to watch this video. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like. If you did not enjoy the video, leave a dislike. Follow me on Twitter at usagihongyaku, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.